ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد. Once again, we're gathered here Friday, and the topic of this khutbah is one that we don't think about too often. If I were to ask you guys, please sit up in the masjid. If I were to ask you guys, what is the strongest muscle in the human body, what would you guys say to me? Many of you will say the chest, the back, your legs even.
Wait, the strongest muscle?
No, quiet. This is a Q&A.
Strongest muscle?
The strongest muscle, in reality, is your tongue. It is your tongue. Keep quiet. Please keep quiet. Everyone's quiet. It's not a Q&A. Quiet. Shh. It is your tongue. Why do I give you the tongue as the strongest muscle? If you look at the animal kingdom, you look at the strongest animals that you see, what do? You see gorillas, lions, tigers, all physically strong animals, all physically strong beasts. But why does the human being reign supreme over them? It's the power of their tongue. Without the tongue, we cannot communicate, we cannot spread information, we cannot share the knowledge. Without the tongue, we're not even here right now. Without the tongue, we would not be here speaking, sharing information, sharing this knowledge. And so when you understand the importance of the tongue and its strength, it's important to realize the power that it holds over us and the fact that we will be taken account by Allah for what our tongues possess. Hands out, we can discuss after the khutbah, inshallah. I'll talk to you after the khutbah, inshallah. So there are a few types of speech. The first is speech which is obviously haram. You have things like cursing, lying, saying bad things about one another. This is clearly haram. And then you have other types of speech which is simple. It's like just asking for directions, asking for your food. And this is neither haram or halal, or it's not neither haram, or you also don't get rewarded for it. It's just neutral. And then you have the speech which is beneficial to humanity. يَنْهُ عَلَى الْمُنْكَرِ, and you forbid evil and you command good. أَمْرُ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَى عَلَى الْمُنْكَرِ. They command what is good and they forbid what is evil. This is the type of speech that the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to do. And the Prophet ﷺ, he told us that a person once came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked him, what is backbiting? Now, many of you already know what backbiting is, and you understand that it is a major sin, but the Prophet ﷺ, he clarified it in such a way that we understand the travesty and the devastation that it can cause you on Yawm al-Qiyamah. The one who backbites his brother, it is as if he's eating his own flesh. He's eating his brother's flesh. And so a man comes to the Prophet ﷺ and he asks the Prophet, what is backbiting? And the Prophet responds that backbiting is to say something about your brother which you know your brother would not like or appreciate had you said it in front of him. And the man questions the Prophet ﷺ and he asks him, is that the case even if what you say is true? Is it still backbiting if what you're saying about a person is true? And the Prophet ﷺ tells him that it's only backbiting if it's true. If you lie about a person, it's considered slander. It's even worse than backbiting. So even telling the truth about a person behind his back is not what we believe in Islam, because it shows discord in the community. It shows that we are having infighting. You're talking bad about a brother and you don't know where stuff like this could lead to. It's simple things like this which can develop into beef, arguments, and even wars when you get to a large enough stage. And so we're told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that not a word does he utter, but there is a watcher ready to report it. Not a word as mankind are we able to say that we're not being reported for and taken to an account for. And so if you are someone that just continuously talks without thinking about what you're saying, without thinking about if what you're saying is good or bad, then you fall victim to the possibility of saying something which can even lead you to hellfire. And if you believe your speech is not important, you're devaluing what Allah has made valuable. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us that the speech is valuable. And in a hadith by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that a man may say a word and think nothing of it, and this word is what takes him to Jannah, because Allah puts weight in it. And likewise, vice versa, a man may say a word and he thinks nothing of it, and this is the word which drinks him down to the hellfire. It will bring him into Jahannam. And so it's important to understand exactly what the things we are saying and where they will lead to. And first of all, understanding that our speech is a representative of us as Muslims. It is a representative of our culture, of our identity, and what we believe. So when you're in public and you're with your friends or you're with your teachers or whoever you may be with, your speech is the first step towards understanding who you are as a person. So that is why it is one of the first things we are taken into account for on the Day of Judgment. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. So I want to talk about the wisdom in silence. Obviously, if you remain silent, you can never say anything that will lead you to do wrong, correct? If you ever found yourself just talking and talking and talking, eventually your speech ends up being pointless or even negative in nature. And so lastly, before we end off, I want to share a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. It's an extremely important hadith and it's a beautiful one at that. So the Prophet ﷺ is asked by one of the Sahaba about an action that will take him to Jannah. He wants to know, what is something I can do that will lead me to paradise? And so the Prophet gives him initially a response which many of us already know or we would understand intuitively. And his response is what? It's the 5 pillars of Islam. He responds, worship Allah alone, establish the prayer, pay zakat, fast on Ramadan, and make hajj. And then he wants to add on. The Prophet ﷺ says, shall I not inform you of the head of the matter, its pillar and its peak? He says the head of the matter is Islam. This is where everything begins from, and this is the true purpose of our lives as human beings is our Islam. And he says the pillar of the matter is a salat. A salat is what will keep your Islam intact. It's what keeps your Islam strong, and it's what makes your iman strong. And he says the peak of the matter is jihad. Jihad is to fight in the cause of Allah and to risk your life in such a way to where it shows that your iman is pretty much as high as it could be. If you're willing to give up your life for the sake of Allah, what does that say about your iman? And then he asks, shall I not inform you of the foundation of all of this? And what the Prophet ﷺ does is he grabs his tongue. He grabs his tongue and he says, restrain this. Is there anything that throws people into the hellfire upon their faces or upon their noses except the harvest of their tongues? The tongue is the foundation of your character. It is the foundation of the things you believe in. It is the foundation of the knowledge which you consume. When your tongue is just, the rest of your life will be just. When you speak what is correct, what is right, and you partake in what is right, and you forbid what is evil, that is when your Islam follows and your deen is strengthened. The rest of our body actually asks our tongue in the morning when we wake up. The rest of our body says to the tongue, if you are righteous, then we are all righteous. And if you are astray, then we are all astray. So it's important to realize that we are just a culmination of the actions which we repeatedly do. So it's important to understand that the tongue is part of that action. It's more important than what you do with your hands, what you do with your brain. The things you say are more important than almost any other deed you can commit. And so I end with this. رب لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. أقيموا الصلاة. Who said you must give Iqamah?